One of the most dangerous financial systems in modern life is lifestyle creep. Not because it's happened suddenly, but because it happens gradually enough to feel normal. Income rises, lifestyle improves, comfort expands, convenience increases, and slowly fixed obligations begin growing faster than flexibility. Lifestyle creep rarely feels dangerous while it is occurring, because human beings normalize new environments extremely quickly. What once felt luxurious, optional, or excessive gradually becomes normal. And once something becomes normal psychologically, removing it often begins feeling like loss. This is where behavioral reinforcement becomes extremely important, because the system quietly begins defending the expanded lifestyle structure. One of the biggest misconceptions in personal finance is this: higher income automatically creates more financial freedom. But often, higher income simply finances higher obligations. As income rises, many households unconsciously expand housing costs, vehicle costs, entertainment systems, subscriptions, convenience spending, and recurring commitments. The problem is obligations scale faster than flexibility. And eventually, higher income households can become just as fragile, or even more fragile than lower income households. One of the most important ideas in this episode is this: fixed costs reduce optionality. Because every recurring commitment reduces flexibility, narrows future choices, and increases pressure sensitivity. At first, the individual commitments feel manageable, but over time, the combined structure becomes heavier, more rigid, and increasingly dependent on stable income. This is where hidden fragility begins emerging underneath outward success. Modern consumption systems are incredibly sophisticated. Many are specifically designed to reduce friction, increase convenience, automate spending, and reinforce recurring behavior. And this creates a subtle psychological trap, because convenience often feels like progress. But financially, it can slowly increase dependence, recurring obligations, and structural rigidity, which means comfort can quietly increase fragility without the household fully realizing it. Lifestyle creep is not driven only by personal desire. It is also driven by environment. Human beings compare constantly, and modern digital environments intensify this dramatically. Exposure to curated lifestyles, social status signaling, aspirational consumption, and comparison systems quietly shifts expectations upward over time. And eventually, people stop asking, what actually improves my life? And begin asking, what level of lifestyle feels normal now? The real danger of lifestyle creep is not spending itself. The real danger is lost flexibility, because over time, expanding obligations begin reducing optionality, resilience, adaptability, and future decision freedom. The household becomes more dependent on income, less tolerant of disruption, and more difficult to reposition strategically. And eventually, the system begins requiring increasingly stable conditions simply to maintain itself. One of the biggest reasons we've spent so much time building liquidity ratios, leverage ratios, solvency ratios, and contribution style operating systems is because lifestyle creep becomes very difficult to detect without measurement systems. Because lifestyle expansion often feels normal, but ratios scale reality, and they allow us to see whether freedom is expanding or compressing. Let's compare two households. On the left side, we have a lower income stable household. This household earns $4,500 per month. Their contribution style structure looks like this: income $4,500, net income before financing $1,200, net income $1,000. This means their operating structure remains relatively stable. Now let's assume income rises by 10%. Income increases to $4,950. Because the household has low fixed cost rigidity, controlled obligations, and disciplined lifestyle structure, net income rises from $1,000 to $1,120. Notice something important. The household preserves operating flexibility. Now let's look at the leverage metrics. Degree of lifestyle leverage, 1.8. Degree of financial leverage, 1.2. Degree of combined leverage, 2.16. These are relatively stable amplification levels. Pressure exists, but it is manageable. Now look at the liquidity and solvency systems. Our quick ratio may be 2.8. Our current ratio may be 3.2. Our debt ratio may be 0.28, and our debt to equity ratio may be 0.39. This household may not appear wealthy externally, but structurally it is resilient. It has optionality, liquidity, adaptive flexibility, and strong shock absorption capacity. On the right side, we have a high-income, fragile household. Now we compare this to household earnings of $12,000 per month. Externally, this household appears far more successful, but the structure underneath tells a different story. With our contribution style structure, we would see $12,000 of income, net income before financing of $1,400, and net income of $500. Despite much higher income, the household retains very little flexibility after fixed obligations, financing costs, and lifestyle expansion. Now let's increase income by 10%. Income rises to $13,200. Net income rises from $500 to $1,100. At first glance, this seems positive. But now look at the leverage metrics. Our degree of lifestyle leverage is 6.0. Our degree of financial leverage is 2.8. And our degree of combined leverage, 16.8. This household has become highly amplified. Small disruptions now create very large outcome changes. Now examine the liquidity and solvency systems. We may have a quick ratio of 0.7, a current ratio of 1.1, a debt ratio of 0.79, and a debt-to-equity ratio of 3.76. This household appears high income, but structurally it is fragile. The system now requires continuous income stability simply to maintain itself. And this is exactly why ratios matter, because lifestyle creep can hide fragility underneath comfort, income, and visible success. But operational metrics reveal what the structure is actually becoming. The most dangerous aspect of lifestyle creep is this: fragility often grows silently. And many households do not realize flexibility is disappearing until pressure finally arrives. The most important insight from this episode is this: lifestyle is not just consumption, lifestyle becomes financial structure. And over time, financial structure shapes flexibility, resilience, stress, optionality, and future freedom. Which means the goal is not maximizing visible lifestyle expansion. The goal is designing a life structure that preserves long-term flexibility. In the next episode, we'll explore behavioral operating leverage, because behavior itself can become a form of leverage. Small repeated patterns, whether positive or negative, can amplify financial outcomes dramatically through time. And eventually, the behaviors repeated most consistently become the strongest force shaping the future system.